striking like lightning. All my patience been running low, and that ice they don't get a thin. I do not call these people bro, and I'm not here trying to make no friends. I be cooking up like I'm a chef, Michelin star, they know I'm the best. I got the beats, the bars, the flows, I had to go separate me from the rest. I got the heat, they calling me Spo, I'm feeling the lead whenever I step up to the plate. And I be counting the days till I become one of the greats. Dedicate 2020 for the Kobe, I'ma be ballin' while they in the nosebleed. MVP, I'm getting a trophy, living the spirit of moment Ginobili. Not on my level, they all be below me. I'm too lit, they tryna control me. Good on my own, but I don't be lonely. Now they be saying they wanted to hold me down. 2.0, but I'm numero uno. Circle small like sumo. Travel the world and see new places, but I don't go where you go. Follow the leader, copying me, but they cannot be what I'm on. The best MC they ever gon' see. Been on the grind for too long. They thought I was finished, but I'll never stop. Handling business and I've been investing. My pockets extending, I'm getting a guap. I'm never jealous, I've been getting better. I look in the mirror and see my competitor. Counting up bills like I'm working the register, but I'm not regular, I've been a boss. Ballin' like I'm Randy Moss, never been worried about taking a loss. Now I don't even look at what it costs, I just be swiping a platinum card. I've been on top of my game for 10 years straight. I fell in love with the chase to be at the top, and I'll be back for a whole nother season, whether they ready or not.
I'm scared, confusing which is one from the other, cause it doesn't mean so much in the end. I've been trying to breathe underwater.
I've been trying to breathe.
I've been trying to hide cause I'm scared.
I don't know what to do.
Confusing which is one from the other,
but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't mean so much in the end.
It don't mean nothing. Yeah. I've been dealing with the lies. I've been busy cutting ties from all the other people who not giving me their time. And lately I've been feeling like the only one behind, cause I'm always giving out, but I'm never getting mine. I always kept it real and had good intentions, but people on the internet faking their friendships, trying to benefit when they see you progressing, and quick to turn their back when they on to the next one. A sad way to live, I can't ever relate. And nowadays I can't tell the real from the fake, cause everybody popping and everybody paid, till you see that real life and it never look the same. I show them how I did it, I've been real authentic. I won't ever tell a lie just to boost my image, cause I'm good where I'm at, I don't need no gimmicks. I just put away the phone, enjoy the life I'm living, yeah.
I've been trying to breathe underwater.
I've been trying to breathe.
I've been trying to hide cause I'm scared.
I don't know what to do.
Confusing which is one from the other,
but it doesn't matter.
cause it doesn't mean so much in the end.
It don't mean nothing. Yeah. The more that I do, the more that I believe. Everything always goes how it's meant to be, and I don't try to force nothing, I just let it breathe. If it's out of my control, then it's not for me to worry about, I just let it play out. I be living optimistic, I don't ever have doubt that it's all gonna work, but I don't know how. All I do is play my role till the curtain come down. Yeah, I'm lucky that I never had to work 9 to 5, but I put in all that time till my dream came alive. The story never ends if you always gonna try, and I never let nobody ever tell me otherwise. So if you really want it, then you better go and get it, cause nothing gonna happen if you don't put in the effort. The finish line never in sight when you be waiting, so go enjoy the journey, cause there ain't no destination.
I've been trying to breathe underwater.
I've been trying to breathe.
I've been trying to hide cause I'm scared.
I don't know what to do.
Confusing which is one from the other,
but it doesn't matter.
cause it doesn't mean so much in the end.
You fucking crazy, man. You sound insane. Do you realize that?
Pussy little niggas, some niggas we diss. Mama, I'm sorry, I'll get it like this.
Yeah, went through the battle and I made it out, I was all alone. If I didn't give it a try, then I would've never known. I still remember they told me that I wasn't good enough. Finally got what I wanted, now I'm about to run it up. Always be working, I won't take a day off. Look at my bank and it's starting to pay off. People been looking for me like a radar. They want my spot, but I won't give it to them. I've been too focused on business I'm doing. I take the good with the bad and the bad with the good, cause I can't be picking and choosing. I've been the boss. Nobody cutting me off. We used to go window shop at the mall. Now I just go and I'm buying it all. Whatever, whenever, no matter the cost. I make enough for the time that I lost. Locked in the studio day after day, but I had to make it before I could ball. Come on, yeah. Went through the battle and I made it out. I was all alone. If I didn't give it a try, then I would've never known. I still remember they told me that I wasn't good enough. Finally got what I wanted, now I'm about to run it up. I put my ego aside, I always remember when I used to try to get to the point that I'm at. Now I be keeping it going, it ain't no surprise. I'm running it. I still got a lot left to give. Back to the lab, I be cooking up hits. Step to the plate and I'm never gonna miss. I won't ever quit, I'm way too competitive. And I want it all, not a little bit. You coming for me and I'm well equipped, cause I'm not the one to be messing with. Now I put the weight of the world on my shoulders. Know that I got it, I keep my composure. I see the top and they keep getting closer. I'm on the way and they know that I'm here to take over. Yeah. Went through the battle and I made it out, I was all alone. If I didn't give it a try, then I would've never known. I still remember they told me that I wasn't good enough. Finally got what I wanted, now I'm about to run it up. Yeah, they wanna know how to get like me. Dream so big that I cannot sleep. Put in that time and I put in that grind. I'm the best in the world, that's all I see. Never back down, I'm standing strong. They gonna talk, but they all been wrong. What they gonna say when I keep going up? What they gonna do when I don't fall off? Look at my skills, look at my flaws. Never been perfect, I'm not a god, but I'm a GOAT. I've been the greatest whenever I spoke. Looking around and they doing the most. Whatever I touch, I turn it to gold. Tell them there's levels to be in the game. They wanna compete, but they not coming close. No, I'ma keep going again and again. Whatever I want, I'ma get. They gon' be saying they know I'm a friend of a friend. Whenever I become the best, I don't be spending my time on the internet. I just be living it out in the flesh. I don't need nothing to motivate me. Winners are never gon' wait for success. Yeah. Look at my neck, shining. Look at my bank, comments. Look at my wrist, AP. Who is the GOAT? I am. Look at my neck, shining. Look at my bank, comments. Look at my wrist, AP. Who is the GOAT? I am. Hey, got more money and I got more problems. All that I want is peace and quiet. They all been bothering me, so I gotta keep my phone on silent. No matter the outcome, already know that I always keep on trying. They wanna do business, but I gotta be a partner, not no client. I'm not like the rest, too damn smart and they still wanna test me. Move to the MIA and I'm running my team like Messi. Everyone good all around me, I'm giving out bands like candy. Not Halloween, but they still be fake, no wonder they don't understand me. I still got a long way to go, all that I do is for me, not for show. I don't like putting no pressure on me, but lately I needed it all just to grow. I had to step out of my comfort zone, give it some time and leave it alone. Now that I'm back and I'm ready for more, I'll give them a reason to call me to go. Yeah. Look at my neck, shining. Look at my bank, comments. Look at my wrist, AP. Who is the GOAT? I am. Look at my neck, shining. Look at my bank, comments. Look at my wrist, AP. Who is the GOAT? I am.
You gon' push me to my breaking point, that's a hard fact. We had an agreement, you got greedy, then you double back. That's a no-no, it don't work like that. We were friends, knowing me, how you thought you'd get away with that? If you switching up, I might have to switch your little face up. Right hand to the gavel, either way I'm getting caked up. Lying in the sand, pretty boy, what you made of? I can flip your shit, take your chick and your pay stub. I don't play the field, I hear my Dougie from the skybox. Playing with my funds, it get ugly like a cyclops. My God, I ain't been this livid since my dad kicked me out the house. We had an agreement, now you tryna give the runaround. Bad move, you shouldn't have done me like that. You pay the price, don't take advice, make bad moves. The wrong move, you could've made your cars right, now it's bad news. You You acting like a bitch, grade A. It's time to ride, you better make way. Yeah, when it comes to this, I don't take breaks. And because of this, I need a pay raise. I gotta ask myself for a pay raise. Hey Nate, what do you say, mate? Well shit, dog, you a real boss. And that gross looking like it made weight. So okay, wait. Tell me how you gonna get rid of the body you got in front of you. Probably should get a shot and put a hole through his body. Like it to do is a hobby, like do, get the fuck out of here. But I might do him different from a gut check. Cause if he do die, then I'm a suspect. So I might cut the legs off his clan base and watch his dreams die from my success. Bad move, bad move. You shouldn't have done me like that. You pay the price, don't take advice, make bad moves. The wrong move, you could have paid your cars right. Now it's bad news. Yeah, I know you, dog, you do wrong, need some backup. You don't get a pass, make us mad, you get smacked up. Act up, I stick to the facts, then I rack up. You ain't got a chance, see my fans, I get mad love. Yeah, I know you, dog, you do wrong, need some backup. You don't get a pass, make us mad, you get smacked up. Act up, I stick to the facts, then I rack up. You ain't got a chance, see my fans, I get mad love.
Look at me now, I did it all, they wondering how. Come to my city and copy my style. They wanna be me, that ain't allowed. I never wanna be part of the crowd. Good on my own, don't need them around. I beat them all, now they wanna test me. I be a legend like Lionel Messi. I be a legend like Lionel Messi.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to everybody all across the world. How's it going? That was it, right? That was it. Oh my god, it's a stream. I have to do it too. Like I can't just like not do it. It's a stream. I love it. I love the hype. I love seeing the hype in chat. I got the LOLs for the mods. Everybody is here. Everybody's hyped. I'm going to say thank you to Twitch for dropping their restrictions on multi-streaming. We are streaming proudly and broadly live across LinkedIn, Twitter/X, YouTube, and Twitch for tonight. And I am so happy to be starting 2024 off with you guys and girls, everybody. Like, I missed you guys so much. I have not streamed in a while, and that was pretty intentional, right? It's, you know, we got the holidays and everything that kind of comes around, and I realized that I wouldn't want to feel obligated to take my time away from my family. And so I decided I wasn't going to stream because I wanted to make sure you all did not feel obligated to take the time out of your day and you get to spend that time doing important stuff like hanging with your friends and family. So hopefully you did. Hopefully you had an awesome break. I'm super excited to be back here. Glad to see all the hype chats across all the channels. Drop some chats in there. Let me know how your holidays have been. Happy to be here. I don't have my script up tonight. You can tell I don't have my script up tonight. You know, the bottom line is, right, so you know, if you're first time here, and I've seen a lot of people in chat, you know, saying that this is their first time here, welcome to the Cyber Insecurity channel. My name, as always, is Neil Bridges. I am your host tonight, your commandant, your guide through the cyber ether, if you will, and I'm super excited to be chatting with you where we have real conversations with real people here on the Cyber Insecurity channel. You know, what does it mean to have real conversations with real people? We have no holds barred. We kind of get down and dirty. We talk about, you know, the things that nobody talks about behind the corners. We open up the covers and really just kind of peek behind what's happening in the industry that that most of us love, that we're in, and most of us are trying to get into. And so, with that being said, you're going to get a lot of opinions from myself and my guest tonight. I'm super excited to be joined with my regular co-host, Mr. Jeff Goals. I will introduce him. He doesn't need an introduction, but I'll bring him in here in a second. I got to make him sit in the green room, and he's dying. He's anxious to talk to everybody. He's actually anxious to give me shit, but either way, he's just anxious to get out here and do something, right? But so if you're here, welcome, glad to have you. If you've been here before, thank you for coming back. It's glad to see everybody again. Rules in chat, obviously we do have moderators. Make sure you drop some hype hands, make sure you drop some claps, make sure you drop some support across all of the channels, with obviously streaming across 4 different platforms. Moderators are working 4 times as hard to make sure that the content is free of racist, sexist, misogynistic, elitist, and otherwise toxic behavior. We have 0 tolerance for toxicity on this stream, and so if you do get hit with a timeout or ban, you should take that up with a moderator. I actually don't pay attention to that too much. That's all on them. And so this is a great opportunity to remind you to hit that exclamation point Discord in chat so that you get access to our Discord server. Speaking of our Discord server is pretty awesome, if I do say so myself. We've got tons of mentorship and career-related sections inside of our Discord. Almost any of the questions that you have when it comes to things that you've got inside of your cybersecurity career can be found by hanging out inside of our Discord. Cool. There's that. All right. I think with that being said, I think I can bring in Jeff.
I'm gonna start off not by giving you any grief.
What?
Happy New Year.
What?
Happy New Year. I'm just happy to be here, man. This is great.
What was the pinnacle of your time off?
I gotta tell you. So everyone, this is like the person who comes into this stream and like has never been here before is like, oh, this seems kind of cool. Okay, but so my daughter got me this. Do you know what that is?
Oh
Neil?
no! Oh, say it ain't so.
It's got a little fishtail.
Put it over your face. Put it over your face. You're a little off. There you go. For those who are not read into the narwhal, narwhal, Jack, double check me, but I think the narwhal command, the exclamation point narwhal in chat still works. If it doesn't, can somebody find the narwhal video? That is the official mascot of cyber insecurity, thanks to folks like
thanks to a really dumb question.
Oh God.
You want to know how bad the stream was at the early stages? This right here.
It was one of those things where it was like, somebody asked you what your favorite animal was. I think it was, right. It's in the video. So. You can go see the video, but yeah, they asked you what your favorite animal was.
Honestly, they were like, I can't trust these guys to tell me anything about security. What's your favorite animal?
And you said narwhal, and I 100% thought Jeff was making it up. I absolutely thought Jeff was making it up. I was like, no, there's no way that's a real thing. And I had to go look it up because I did not believe it was.
It's a dolphin with a horn.
It's
Come on.
a dolphin with a horn. So narwhals are a real thing. And they are the official mascot of it. You can see Josh inside of Twitch chat dropping the narwhal logo in there. So that's awesome. That's a great gift. I'm jealous. Tell her I want one. Tell her that I need one next year.
Okay. I'll let her know that.
Oh,
and then you remember Lee, right?
Yeah, I remember Lee.
My SE.
Yeah.
So her husband makes knives for a hobby.
Okay.
And so when my family went to Europe, we went to Italy and got a bunch of Parmesan cheese. I was like, you know what? I want to make a cutting board out of some Italian wood. And so we got some olive wood from Italy. And I was like, oh, you know what would be even better? To make a cheese knife.
Okay.
With the wood. And then all I have to do is learn how to make a knife. But he offered to show me, and so I invited my 2 boys to go up too. So we were literally doing Forged in Fire last month in the middle of Minnesota, like with blazing hot metal and hammering it and sparks going everywhere. It was awesome.
So what is a cheese knife? Can you what is different about a cheese knife versus something else? I'm not in tune with that.
So Parmesan cheese is like pretty flaky.
Yeah.
And so you kind of like, you don't really cut it. Like
Okay.
a lot of times people just cut it into slices and that's cool, but you eat it in like little chunks.
Okay.
And so those nuggets come off with a cheese knife, and you just kind of like stab it and twist, and it's not a real like fantastic knife, but I did make a real knife.
Do we need to send a wellness check to your house? Stab it and twist, folks. Stab it and twist.
Why do I get the feeling like that's going to hit the narwhal page too? Jeff wants to kill narwhals with a cheese knife.
Welcome to Cyber
If anyone
Insecurity,
had
folks.
an idea what a cheese knife was,
That's
they would
right.
know it would take about 1,000 years to kill a narwhal with a cheese knife.
That's right. That's right.
Story.
But in true cyber insecurity fashion, we talk about cybersecurity, all things cybersecurity, and random shit.
And, and a couple of other things.
Oh God, I did used to live in Wisconsin. Yes, I do know what a cheese knife is. That's what we call in the industry a colloquial, where it's like, Jeff, can you please explain to the audience what a cheese knife is?
And similar to narwhal, you might be the only person who didn't know what a cheese knife was.
Oh God. So Jeff is obviously a regular here, as you can tell by the antics. If you find any of Jeff's expertise valuable, you can hit the ! guest in chat and get access to his LinkedIn page with his cheesy, needs to be updated with AI LinkedIn photo. As you can tell, we do have moderators who push questions.
Hair.
Hey, no, speaking of hair, like some of my pigmentation's coming back. Dude, I'm asking the doctor on next Friday if like that means, if that's like a good sign, dude. Like I'm getting some of my pigmentation back.
Earlier, you look good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Like, can you compliment me some more? What exactly looks good about me?
Oh, fine, good looks, man. That's it. That's all I got.
That's all you got? I injured
I pretty much tapped out.
I injured myself recently.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah.
Do something stupid.
Plead the fifth on the definition of stupid.
You'll tell the story, and then we'll take a vote. I think that needs to be a survey vote.
Does that need to be a poll? Is what Neil did something stupid? Should we do a prediction on this one? How many people think what Neil's about to describe is something stupid?
Mark me down ahead of time.
So people may be shocked by this because, as Jeff mentioned, I look pretty good for my age, but I'm 44 years old. It's probably been about 10 years since I've done any like heavy physical activity, right? Since I got out of the military in 2013, where I was doing like CrossFit and stuff like that. And I've been on this golf journey for a while, Jeff. A while. It feels like a while. It's been a year, right? And I decided that I needed more speed. Because, speed equals, you hit the ball further, and hitting the ball further is never a bad thing for the game.
Look at people like you and me, and they say they definitely need more speed. Neil, I was playing basketball over break, and my Apple Watch asked me if I wanted to record my indoor walk. That's all I have to say.
That's not a good sign for basketball, Jeff. So anyway, I needed more speed, and so I've been researching how PGA pros have been gaining speed in the off season, and I found this cool system. There's a video that's going to go up on Instagram. Hit my ! Socials and follow me up on Instagram if you're interested in it. And so I started the program to work on speed. And it's basically a graphite golf shaft with weights on the end of it, right? And they're interchangeable out and things like that. And they have you do a baseline.
Nothing bad could happen there.
Nothing. Imagine a graphite shaft that's a little bit flexible with 200 grams of weights on the end of it. Nothing bad at all whatsoever.
I'm seeing weights like flying through the air, going through a plate glass window.
If Carmen knew that the first time I did it, I swung towards her car instead of out the garage.
That would be how you got injured. And
that would be the answer to how I got injured, but that wasn't it. And so the app to determine the baseline said, we need you to swing as hard as you can because we have to determine what your baseline swing is. And you don't just do this one time, Jeff. You do this like 30 times. So you have to swing out of your shoes like 30 times to get the baseline for this swing.
I've seen you on the golf course. That looks exactly like how you approached your game.
Well,
that was such a bad shot. I'm going to swing harder.
I got to swing harder at it. The good thing about the training system, right, is it doesn't require the club face to be squared. It just requires a shit ton of power.
You don't have to chase your ball.
That's right. You don't have to chase it. So I did. I swung as hard as I could. You'll be happy to know that in my current configuration, when I'm not injured, and if I don't have to worry about squaring the club face, I can get about 286, 287 carry. But in doing the baseline, I tore my thoracic ligament or muscle or something like that in my shoulder doing the speed training.
You get about 2.86 carry.
And now I get about 2. It's funny you should mention that, Jeff, because in true guy fashion, I went out to the golf course the very following weekend, knowing that I had a little bit of a tweak in my shoulder.
Nothing bad could happen there.
Nothing bad could happen there. Nothing at all. It's like, I'll work it out on the golf course.
It just needs to loosen up.
Just needs to loosen up. You know, if I just keep working it, it'll be fine, right? That's what all the 20-year-olds do, right? So yeah, I went out to the golf course and I made it through 9 holes, Jeff. I made it through 9 holes without any issue, and then I get to the 10th hole.
The problem is you were playing 18.
The problem was I was playing 18. I should have stopped at 9. I got to the 10th hole, and as soon as my golf club made contact with that ball, it must have made contact at that 286 speed. Like that drive was going to be crushing. And yeah, like it popped. It popped. I bent over. I fell down in the tee box. Felt like somebody had shot me in the back. I was.
Did you at least have a cart that you could get back into your car?
I had my 75-year-old I had my 75-year-old stepdad there trying to limp me back to the cart.
You know, there are times you just disobey the rules and drive the cart up onto the tee. You just have to.
Yeah. It was pretty painful. I mean, I was down and out for like 4 days. I had to go see a physical therapist.
I don't know if we need a poll for this. I think we could like settle this one with yeah, it feels like
that might have been a dumb thing to do.
Followed up by a dumb thing to do.
Yeah, probably going out to play the following weekend was not the pro move to do right there for sure.
Not in that column. Yeah, whatever that column is called, I'll just put that one right there.
I you know, and again, to make matters worse, right? So I went to go see the physical therapist, and the physical therapist was like, what's your regiment like? And I was like, well, I practice 4 or 5 times a week, and then I usually play Saturday and Sunday. And he was like, okay, so you're not a hobbyist. And I was like, no. He was like, when's your next set of tournaments? And I was like, February 3rd. And he was like, oof, this is usually like a 1 to 5 week injury. And I was like, you better do better than that. As if like he's gonna like have a conversation with my thoracic shoulder.
Well, let me just have a quick conversation and see how this one goes. If you can master that, you could be like a doctor to the stars.
Yeah, I was pretty done up after that. So yeah, so I'm on the disabled list. I'm taking it easy. So I've been in the gym trying to strengthen up my shoulders, trying to strengthen up the back, trying to get that underway. So yeah.
Okay, so officially, how long till you go back out on the course?
I get to go back. I get to go see my physical therapist January 19th, and he's supposed to tell me at that point in time whether I can go back to practicing. Now, I'm struggling. Like I'm in the groove where it's like I can't stand not. Like I've got an iron sitting over there that I've been chipping into like a little net over there on that side. I've got my unweighted stack system here, not paid promotion. You know, that I've been swinging in here. And so like I may go out this weekend and like try to chip and putt. Maybe next weekend I'll do like some wedge work where it's like 60 to 70 yards where I don't have to swing full swing. But I've got at least till January 19th before I get the 2 thumbs up from the doc.
So you're going out tomorrow?
I learned my lesson. I've got the first tournament of the season is at a golf club that is one of my all-time favorites. And so no, I'm going to be good because I want to play really, really well at that golf club.
All right.
So wish me luck. For those who are interested in following my golf journey, I appreciate all the support that I get. Listen, the stuff that the support that I get, Jeff, from the community and from the fans on my Instagram account on golf has been phenomenal. I'll be showing up for a tournament on tournament day, and I've got about 15 DMs and text messages from people all wishing me luck. I've got 2 goals. I got 2 goals for this year that are golf related. One, I won 1 tournament last year. I want to win 2. And the second is I want to make it in the top 10 for state championship. How did you know? Did you know this? Holy cow. Are you oh, did I maybe I mentioned that? How did you know this? What up? Yeah. That's definitely it. Tobacco Road, baby. That's the one I'm going to. Like, that's the season opener, and I'm loving it. Like, are you going to be there? Dude, if you're going to be there, like, let's go. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the golf stuff. I appreciate everybody's support on that.
That's awesome.
It is.
Well, congrats. As a person who saw you on the golf course a few years back, I am glad to see your journey has had some success.
I don't know what you're talking about, Jeff. I don't know what you're talking about.
No idea.
None whatsoever.
For those of you who don't know, I may have been able to pick up a really good set of golf clubs for very little money after playing that round with me.
Yes, that was a bad day that we had to get. I was talking with Joel the other day. So somebody asked appropriately, "What's this live about?" So this is the Cyber Insecurity channel, and this live is about random stuff, as you can tell. We talk about cybersecurity, but we also talk about just kind of life and stuff in general. And with that being said, Jeff, I was chatting with Joel Fulton the other day. A lot of viewers remember Joel. Joel's if you hop over to YouTube and check out check out the it's a cybersecurity truth bombs. If you check that one out, that's got 3 hours of Joel Fulton, and it will literally, it is a gold mine of great cybersecurity data. With Joel Fulton, we had that one. It was a great stream. But we were catching up the other day, and he was unaware that I had a goal of getting to the PGA. He thought I was just like taking up golf to go golfing with the buddies on the weekend. And I was like, no. And I was like, no. I was like, as a matter of fact, I have learned.
I want to kick my buddies' butts.
I was like, no. I told him. I said the amount of self-reflection and the amount of things that I have learned about cyber from playing golf has been something I never could have fathomed in my entire life.
That's interesting because I can't fathom it either.
Absolutely. He was dumbfounded. He was like, I could hear the "Are you saying?" on the other side of the phone. It was. I'll give you. I got a couple examples. I'll give you another example. Right. In golf, when you play, and I'm not talking about going out on the weekends and playing with your buddies. I'm not talking about like drinking beers and driving the golf cart around and maybe dying because you crashed into a sand dune. I'm not talking about that, right? What I'm talking about is if you're playing competition golf, right? You have to play the ball where it lies, right? Which means you hit a shot off the tee box. Let's say that I spent entire off season in the simulator working on my driver, and in the simulator, 9 out of 10 times I can hit the fairway with my driver. 9 out of 10 times in the simulator. I get out there to the first tee box of the tournament on February 5th at Tobacco Road. I hit that first drive. and I slice it to the right. I got to play that ball where it lies. I don't get a redo. I don't be like, whoa. You should have seen my simulator sessions, right? You should have seen my simulator sessions. Like, give me another shot. I can hit this one in the fairway. No, you got to play that ball where it lies. And think about it from a cyber perspective. Like, you plan and practice for an incident for months. You run your tabletop exercises, you build your playbooks, you watch your alerts, you're scouring for malware, you're doing vulnerability scanning, and you get popped with ransomware. You got to play it where it lies. Like, that's it. Like, there's no redo. There's no, whoa, hold on for a second. My SOC 2 says I'm compliant. You got to play that ball where it lies. Right? You got to walk up to that ball, and it might be in 6 inches of rough. Right? You got computers getting taken over left and right by ransomware. Right? And you got to play that ball, and you got to try to make the best shot you can out of the situation you've got. No, there's no redos, knowing that you still got to get on that green in a respectable score and get that ball in that hole. You still got to be successful by playing the ball exactly where it lies.
Without thinking, oh, shoot, I should have done that or should have done this.
Yeah.
There's like that is out of the mind until the report has to get written. But for now, let's focus on the shot.
Exactly. You got to have a goldfish memory, right? You got to have a 10-second memory. You slice that drive, hey, like, that's out of your head. If you let that get to your head, your whole thing, your whole perspective is out, right? And so, like, it does put in perspective. Like, we talk about that with cybersecurity, but it can be the same way with your life, right? Like I'm sure most of us haven't been happy with all the shots that we've taken in life, but you know what we've had to do? We've had to play it where it lies. We didn't get redos. We had to play that shot where it lies. And you realize just how short of a memory you have to have when things don't go as planned during your practice sessions.
All right, so you find yourself in the throes of an attack.
Yeah.
And your team is starting to second guess and like, oh, we should have done this. Why didn't we have this policy put in place? Or why didn't we patch this system? Like, what is the first thing you do? Do you shut that down, or do you...
I think like incident response, when we talk about like, what do you do for incident response? I don't think that there is a one size fits all for what do you do, right? I taught, for those who don't know, I taught for SANS for a good number of years. I think it was about 5 years that I taught for SANS. I taught, one of the classes I taught was GCIH, which was the incident handler course. And I still very much I firmly believe in that 6-step incident response process, right? And part of those first few steps, when you've declared an incident, is that containment, right? It's that, oh my God, the ball has landed in the rough. This slice went way to the right. Ransomware is taking over my environment. I have got to contain this threat. And containment can look like a lot of different things. Remember, like, I use the military analogy a lot for this one. And so, like, my military folks who are in chat, and I just saw Jax hanging out in there. She'll appreciate this one. She's been, she's combat medic trained as well, right? The first thing you have to do is stop the bleeding, right? That's number one in an incident, is stop the bleeding. What does that entail? That can entail everything to going up and pulling the power plug on a switch or on a computer, right? Like, whatever you've got to do to stop that bleeding, that should be where your head's at. Stop that bleeding.
Okay. So first step, stop the bleeding.
Stop the bleeding.
Do whatever it takes. How do you get to the point where you've got the confidence to just truly do whatever it takes?
And I think that's the right question, right? Is the confidence to make the decision. I think that's the I think if anything, and this is why, like, I've always encouraged people to spend time doing incident response work, right? Because I think what you really develop by doing incident response work is you definitely develop that confidence that you're doing the right thing. It's been a long time since I've told this story, but I'll tell this story because I think this is a good one that kind of talks about that confidence. I was a combat instructor for a number of years in Germany. And when I say a combat instructor, I was teaching comm guys how to deploy communications during, OEF, OIF, to Iraq and Afghanistan. And this was at the time where, the training was, when we first went into Iraq and Afghanistan, when IEDs would go off on the side of the road, the training was to stop, set a perimeter, and fire back at the adversary. About a quarter of the way through the engagement, we realized that they then started setting traps, and what would end up happening is they would have an IED, we would stop, set up a perimeter, and then another IED would go off and blow up everybody who just got out of the vehicles and set up a perimeter. And so we changed it so that when there's some type of fire, some types of IED, some types of engagement, you just keep driving the convoy through and you call for backup and you come back around, right? So long-winded way to say that we were changing kind of our thought process. And so as a combat instructor, we were teaching these types of techniques to folks. And even though I was teaching how to set up communications for, comm folks, we also were teaching them all these types of techniques because they were going to be in convoys and stuff like that. Anyway, we were doing convoy training. I was in the trail vehicle, kind of monitoring the convoy from the rear. And we just got done telling these people not to stop when there is some type of fire that happens, right? And so I've got an earpiece in, and we hear Op 4. You can kind of see the Op 4 flag back here in the background, the opposition forces. We hear Op 4 saying, like, we're about to do the engagement. They start firing. We simulate explosives. We drop some quarter sticks of dynamite to simulate IEDs going off. And of the 7 vehicles, the 6 in front of the trail vehicle smashed on the gas and all pushed through the engagement. Well, that last vehicle slammed on the brakes, almost caused me to rear end them. Slammed on the brakes. Without thinking, I flung open the door to my truck. I ran around to the passenger side of that Humvee, and with full knife hand, I'm yelling at the passenger. What the F are you doing? Get back up there with the rest of your convoy. No, I was just going to town, knife hand and everything. And I look down, and it's an officer that I'm knife handing. And I'm an E3, knife handing an O3.
I was an E3.
My heart sank. I was like, oh dear God.
I was going to repeat it with emphasis, but I'm going to go back to my vehicle and assume that you can move.
I conducted my posture and went back to my vehicle, and they took off in the Humvee and pressed on. I immediately called my senior NCO up and I said, hey, I might have just yelled at Captain such and such. He was like, that's fine, we'll deal with it when it happens. And I was like, I know.
All right, so what happened?
Later that night, we go to do turnover. And he pulls me off to the side. And I'm at this point, like, I'm an airman, like I'm an E3. And I'm like, I'm so about to get yelled at. Like, I'm definitely losing a stripe over this one.
Before you start, I'm super, super sorry, sir.
Before I could get anything out of my mouth, he said, I've never been yelled at by an airman in my entire life. And I just thought that was a precursor to me about to get yelled at by a captain. He said, thank you. He said, thank you for doing that. He was like, I will always remember what I'm supposed to do because I got yelled
at.
The same
story, by the way, has a totally different purpose to it. And there's a little bit different outcome, but that's okay.
Yeah.
This guy was scared out of his mind
I was definitely scared out of my mind. I was definitely, but the point is, right, to Jeff's original, that was a long-winded story to say that the point was to Jeff's original question, you know, when you know what you're supposed to do, when you've practiced it over and over and over again, when it's become ingrained to you, you know, what the response strategy is and what it is you're supposed to do, you just execute when it comes time to execute. Now, I executed that knife hand to that captain with the confidence, flawlessly, and it wasn't about rank, it wasn't about power or authority. It was about having a teachable moment within an opportunity to potentially save somebody's life, because it had been ingrained in me that this was the process, this was the procedure, this was how things were supposed to go. And this is why I'm a huge fan of tabletop exercises in cyber, right? Regardless of where you're at, right? Whether it's blue team or red team, purple teaming, doing it together, like doing the exercises together as a team is what builds that confidence so that you can go knife hand a captain and not even think about it.
All right, so hindsight being 2020, and you know what the captain's reaction ended up being, which was as positive as it possibly could have been to you. Do you do exactly the same thing?
Yeah, absolutely. I do exactly the same thing. I think that moment for me, just as like a life learn type of endeavor, solidified for me doing the right thing can't have bad outcomes. It might be scary in the moment, and you know, you might wonder if it was the right decision. You might wonder if the outcome is going to go in your favor, but it solidified for me that it is always so much more important to do the right thing than to try to play politics or placate, you know, whatever misconceptions you have culturally about something. Do the right thing first. Yeah.
So let me ask you this question, because in business and you know, I'm sure the military has the same but different politics involved, right?
Yeah.
Where do you find the line between justified, righteous, this is the way we've got to do it, you've practiced it, you know exactly what you should be doing, and then right fighting?
And
because it seems like there's people who we all know them,
yeah,
and they're like, they argue for the sake of arguing just so that they can win, whether there's more or less than 5,000 ants in an anthill. Like, does it matter? Like, but like they're vehement about their their argument, and
they will die on a hill for just how wrong they are.
They will die on that anthill. But I'm curious, how do you recognize when you're being just a tool and right fighting versus I am righteous and this is justified?
This is where I think like Joel and I have had some differences, right? And I've had him on stream before, right? And he said something very appropriate, right? Do you want to be right, or do you want to win? Right? Mm-hmm. And there are some people who are just too stupid. And you can't argue with stupidity. You will always lose if you argue with stupidity. And so I really just try to first assess. Again, I go back to my process, right? I try to assess, am I arguing with somebody who's truly stupid and believes their stupidity is right? Or do I believe, or am I arguing with somebody who's not informed? Right? Because I do think sometimes we mistake stupidity for being uninformed.
Yeah.
And it's a fine line. Like, it's an art to figure that out when you're talking to people sometimes. You know, you really do have to ask the question. You really do have to ask the questions to figure out, like, okay, am I dealing with somebody who is indeed stupid and truly does believe that their own stupidity is the gospel, or do they just not have the appropriate intelligence, right? I go back to my military training, right? Intelligence is about getting information to the battlefield commander so they can make decisions quicker. Sometimes people say things out of ignorance because they have not been duly informed of the intelligence that, that helps them make informed decisions. And so I personally try to ensure that if somebody wants to make a stupid decision, have I at least done my due diligence to make sure that they are as informed as possible?
That's fair.
Yeah. Like, I think that's the best you can do. Maybe it's the military mindset. I mean, and guys who are like, I know Jack and Josh are in chat, as well as Jax and, Callie's over in South Carolina, South Korea. You guys drop in chat, like, your thoughts on this too, right? But maybe it's the military mentality where it's like, hey, listen, like if the boss is uninformed and you do your ever-loving best to inform the boss of something, and the boss decides to make the decision anyway, hey, I can walk away from that conversation and have a clear conscience that I gave them the most informed amount of information as possible. Yes, sir, and execute the battle plan, right? Because at the end of the day, like, we're all in that boat together. We're all going to ride it together. We're all going to sink together, and it's not going to do you any good to fight it, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel about it. What's your thoughts? Like, you heard me kind of go through this. How do you deal with that dichotomy?
For me, it comes down to, is the point that we're arguing about important? Like military is a very difficult thing to, like, bring the way you have to approach things in the military and bring it to business, like, on an equal playing field, right? Because business, like, at the end of the day, yes, the leaders of a company are going to make a final decision, but it's not life or death to me.
Yeah.
Like the worst thing that a company can do to me is fire me. Like,
yeah, that's literally it.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, the stakes are a little higher in military terms. So, like, from that perspective, like, I'm not the right person to ask that kind of question to, if we're talking at all military, because it's a very different playing field. However, in business, I think it's really important to approach things from a mathematical, database, approach, where you're saying, no, this is what the data is showing, and here is the trajectory. If we let this decision ride, it's a very clear direction, right?
Yeah.
And so I think the arguments have to be a lot better mathematically in business. And I think because life and death is not on the line.
Yeah.
In military, there's so many other variables that have to be involved in that, in that decision. And your perspective has to be weighing all of those things very differently. I guess when it comes to cyber, like, to your point, in the throes of an attack, is this bleeding? Like,
yeah.
Am I actually stopping the bleeding, or do we need to go do something else that will stop the bleeding?
To kind of carry that a little bit further, and I saw this comment, and I wanted to bring this one up too, right? Which is, this person talks about, like, find myself combative when the strategy is bad. I think this is a very good segue to kind of talk about like cybersecurity strategies as a whole, right? Because, like, let's not put too fine a point on this, but I want to make sure that everybody understands this, right? Unless you are the CISO of your organization, you probably aren't competent to understand the full scope of the strategy. I chose that word specifically. I chose it
competent?
to be
really.
That was an intentional choice. I
disagree.
That was a Neil triggering choice word. So disagree.
Yeah, well, you triggered.
Good. Why are you triggered?
I think it's you have to assume that people are smart enough, right? Well, can
Smart
everyone do
smart
the
enough
CISO
to
job?
follow or smart enough to understand?
I have to assume they're smart enough to follow.
Okay, you don't have
I
to
can
understand
understand them.
you don't have to understand the strategy to follow.
Says the military, right? No, I'm serious. Like
Okay.
this is
Go for it.
like
Go for it.
when I look at decisions and I say, well, I don't agree with that, right? Um, I for the last 8 years, I've agreed with and disagreed with decisions my company has made. Some of which I think was absolutely brilliant, and I just wasn't informed enough, not competent. I wasn't informed enough about where we were going in other areas and how it would dovetail, right? And other things, I'm like, well, I'm kind of on the front lines with my customers, and I understand their frustration with what we're doing. And so I have a little bit of a unique understanding that I think might be clearer than my leaders have. And it's my duty to inform them of the customer's perspective, right? As a salesperson, that's my job. I fight for my customers so that they know that what they need most, they have a voice inside my company, and I am that voice. And I think it's my job to make sure my leaders understand that customer perspective. However, at the end of the day, my leaders can make decisions that I will disagree with, that I am not privy to the information, the data that I need in order to have a much better purview of their reasoning.
So I
But that's
think
not competency. That's information.
so I think what you described about your responsibility to convey customer information from your customers up to leadership goes back to further my point on intelligence. That is information that you are funneling to your
100%.
to your battlefield commander so they can make an informed decision. When I talk about competency and understanding the strategy, I think that if the strategy has to be explained to you outside of a mission statement, then you're not competent enough to derive your strategy to task to understand it.
But isn't that the same as a board of directors versus a security analyst? And you look at their objectives and strategies, and each layer, it goes down between the board of directors and the security analyst. The goals and objectives are different, right?
The goals and
Now,
objectives are different, yes.
the board has, I need this accomplished. Then you start getting to the CFO and the CISO, and they determine, okay, if that's what the board is telling us we have to do, how do we get it done? What assets do we have? What liabilities do we have? What's the probability of success, and how do we maximize that probability? But they determine who has responsibility for what. Is this a financial responsibility? Is it a technical responsibility? Is it security? Is it app dev? Who owns the job to make sure that this thing gets done in the time that we have allotted per the board's directives?
Okay.
By the time that gets measured down to the analyst, it is, I need to make sure that I have 3 tabletop exercises. I have communications with my first and second level so that they know if I see X, Y, and Z, you do this procedure, right? And have a roadmap or a manuscript of exactly what has to happen and when and by whom. That's a very different set of instructions to understand, right? Very detailed, very tactical, but they don't need to understand this board level issue and the financial side of it and the app dev side of it and the IT side of it. They understand, they just need to understand what their marching orders are for security.
Okay. So there's a lot there. Let's try to unpack it in pieces. So there was a question in chat. I'm going to paraphrase the last thing I said, which was strategy to task. We talk about strategy to task, and this is definitely a military term, but it absolutely applies to business, where there is fundamentally an overall strategy that is given by executive leadership at the top, and then each layer, as Jeff describes, of management derives their respective operational and tactical level objectives and subsequent tactical level tasks that filter through the organization to ultimately accomplish the overall strategy. That's strategy to task. What I think I'm explaining, and I want to oversimplify this strategy to task example just even further than you oversimplified. I want to oversimplify it, right? The business has a business objective, make $10 million a year. But the CISO has an objective to roll out MFA to every manufacturing site in the organization, which then translates down to the IAM analyst who has to actually do the MFA rollout. But upon the MFA rollout, the manufacturing site says, you can't do this because it will put us behind on manufacturing stuff and we won't meet our objectives. And so the analyst goes back, tells that to the CISO. CISO then confers with his executive leadership, and the strategy was determined that MFA will be canceled because it doesn't match.
Manufacturing wins.
Manufacturing
Money wins.
The analyst isn't competent enough to understand the strategy, to understand why that's the case. Most analysts still have blinders on to their tactical level task and refuse to see the overall strategy in which the decisions are being made. That's what I mean by competence.
Yeah, because if we don't have $10 million profit at the end of the year, people are getting let go, and I might not have the job to do MFA next year as well.
Exactly. And that's why I say it's a competency issue, because in a strategy to task scenario, they get their task, go implement MFA across the manufacturing site. When that task stops, they assume it's because management doesn't care about security. Now, regardless of whether management cares about security is irrelevant, a strategic decision was made to meet the strategic objectives of the business. And I think, that's why I think that there are people who are not competent to understand the strategic objectives enough to understand how to execute their day-to-day jobs.
That's fair. I don't disagree with that.
Look at that, boys. Look at that. That's how it's done right there.
You're winning. Yeah, right fighting. How many ants are in that anthill, by the way?
5,000. 5,000 ants in that anthill.
Are you sure? You win on semantics only.
Semantics?
100%. How do you define competency? Right?
Most people think competency is a bad word, right? Like, I don't think that being incompetent is necessarily a bad thing. You have a lack of understanding. I think ignorance is the problem. When you stick your head in the sand, when you ignore security problems, like let's change the scenario, right? You go tell the CISO that you can't do MFA in the manufacturing environments because the manufacturing team says they can't do it. CISO doesn't go fight for those objectives, doesn't put forth the best security strategy, doesn't put forth the right justification. The CISO doesn't do any of that. The CISO just says, well, I'm not even going to take that to executive leadership. Oh, well, we'll just change the operational tasks that we have for this year. Literally sticks his head in the sand and ignores the problem. I think that is incompetent. I mean, I think that is ignorance. I think that's the ignorance that I think is detrimental to our industry.
So there's two pieces here, right?
Yeah.
How much of the ownership of that decision is on the CISO, and how much of it is on the analyst? Because if the analyst understood what MFA was going to actually do for the organization, and yes, it's a cost, but it's a significant risk reduction, So it might cost us $1 million out of the 10 million, but we're not having to spend $20 million to, solve a way bigger problem downstream because we weren't protected.
I go back to my military intelligence, comments, right? Your job, should you choose to accept it, dun 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 dun. Your job, should you choose to accept it, is to provide meaningful intelligence up the chain of command so that your leaders can make good battlefield decisions.
A good analyst will make a good leader way better. A bad analyst will make a bad leader way worse.
Yeah. If your leader, if you provide the information to the leader, if you provide the intelligence to the leader, it is still the leader's decision as a good battlefield commander to decide strategically how to navigate the battlefield. Listen, this may sound like a lot of military speak, but I want everybody to understand, your companies are battlefields. Like, if you're not already thinking about this, if you're not realizing that as a SOC analyst, you're under attack every day. As an incident responder, you're on the front lines every day, taking a hit from cyber criminals left and right, then you're not thinking appropriately, in my opinion, about the role that you and your organization play in the grand scheme of cyber. You are in a daily battleground every day. And so if you pass the information up to your battlefield commander about the value of MFA, they will either make a decision based on the information that you've given. If it's good information, they'll attempt to make the best decision they can with that information. If it's bad decision, then they'll still attempt to make the best decision they can with the bad information. But I would argue that if they still chose not to implement MFA in this example, you have no idea knowing whether your intelligence was good or bad. How many times have you heard about 9/11 stories where, all this intelligence came in about all the preemptive signals for Al-Qaeda flying the planes into the World Trade Center that everybody ignored? How many analysts do you think sat around in a room after 9/11 and smashed their heads on a wall and be like, we told you guys this was going to happen? Mm-hmm. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do if the strategic decision is still made based on the information you gave them.
But how much of that ownership should be on the analyst who did what their job was, right? Yeah. As opposed to elevated what they're doing and saying, no, I care enough about this business to take my job one step further. And this is a hypothetical question.
For sure.
Not here picking on analysts.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah.
But I think there's some guidance that you could provide to analysts who, especially new ones starting out, of, okay, how do I become a better analyst? Because everyone comes into this saying, I love cyber, I want to be on the front lines of it, but then they run into this juggernaut called finance and business. And no, I'm being serious.
Yeah.
They get very frustrated with it because the business doesn't care about security. That I hear that a lot as a sales rep, right?
Yeah.
And, part of what my job is to educate the leaders on, I understand that it's a business, but, we either look at this as a revenue down business or a risk reduction up business. Mm-hmm. And we have to take a look at what is the impact if we do not do MFA, right?
Yeah.
Not just a one sentence flippant answer to saying, well, we're in jeopardy of being popped, and this is the number one way we could address it, but if you don't care, then whatever. And then they would kind of wash their hands, right? Yeah. What if instead they looked at, if we did MFA for a portion, what would have the biggest impact? And what is the risk of not doing it? And if we don't do it, what revenue generating things in manufacturing are most at risk?
So
right?
this is my cynical hat. I'm readjusting my cynical hat for the answer to this.
Cool.
I actually did title that on Twitter when I put the stream title up on Twitter. I called it Cynical Cyber Stream. I think everybody in cyber strives to be the hero. Let me explain what I mean by that. Every aspiring red teamer and pen tester wants to be the leadest of the leads, the 0-day masters, the ability to hack anything, the amount of DMs that I get. Will this make me the best hacker in the world? There's somebody over in LinkedIn right now, how to remote control iOS devices, right? Everybody's chasing that hero moment. And blue team, right? There's blue teamers out there who are like, I'm going to be the one that responds to my organization's ransomware, and I'm going to be the one that saves the company millions of money, or I'm going to find this vulnerability in our environment. And like I saw a post the other day from somebody who was actually in our Discord, who was like, I found a vulnerability in a company's website that I want to get hired at. I want to go tell the CISO about it, and hopefully he'll think I'm really, really awesome and he'll hire me, right? I think everybody is chasing a hero moment in cyber. And I think what you're describing, this is where the cynical part comes in. I think what you're describing, Jeff, is that hero moment, right? What you're describing is I'm going to stand up for what's right. I'm going to stand up for MFA, and I'm going to demand that MFA is implemented in the manufacturing sites. And I'm going to talk about how it's going to cost not just $10 million a day, but $40 million a day, $40 million if we're down for 4 days, and blah, 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 blah. And yes, I'm going to be the one who stands up at my podium with my giant cape and my torch and gets MFA implemented because I'm the hero. And I think that is a fallacy. To believe.
I don't disagree with that, and I'm not saying that, right? But I am saying that, okay, we can't do a giant MFA project, but would it make sense to prioritize a very small subset to get way more bang for the buck, have way less impact on operations, and then it kind of takes out of play operations argument of, well, if we do MFA, we're going to all be out of business, right? That's basically what they're saying by it.
And I think what you're describing,
which is stupid.
Yeah, which is stupid. It is still stupid. But I think what you're describing though is presenting multiple COAs, multiple courses of action, which I still think is within the realm of possibility of an analyst, but also knowing that it's still a strategic decision whether that COA is viable or not. And you may not be.
Leave it to you to bring in the military term. Thank you. I thought we had enough analogies in telecom and security, and then you talk to a military security person, and it's like, oh, geez.
What's wrong with us military security people, man?
Your analogies are like death by analogy.
Our analogies are no worse than our love for acronyms.
Willful ignorance is a problem. Yes.
Yes, willful ignorance is a problem. That was a fun segue into business strategy. Let's do it. Let's wrap it up in true old guy fashion. What are 3 takeaways from this strategic conversation for an analyst who's listening right now?
No, I'll give you one off the bat, and that is be prepared. Always be practicing. Always be practicing, and get creative in your practicing. What I loved about how you brought in golf, right? And I enjoy sports a lot, but you talk to some of these elite athletes, and like Steph Curry does cross training beyond belief. That's a basketball player. For you, Neil.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I was just
really good one.
I was just nodding and looking cute. I was like, is that a food dish? Like, well, what?
No idea. It's Indian. It's really hot. Nice. But no, you look at what he does, and it is relentless practice. But it's not just practice doing what he does. It's doing practice on strength training and
Mm-hmm.
other facets to make him better. His endurance is like stupid. He's
Yeah.
running around the court like his Apple Watch would not ask him if he wants to record his walk. I can assure you.
I can assure you
But-
of that.
But it's more than just making yourself better at like coding or scripting or, you know, red teaming or whatever. It's all right. How do I practice communication? How do I practice engaging with other teams? And I think that's, you know, that's a key takeaway here. I don't know, what do you think? What are a couple of others?
I like the practice thing. I will never say that practice is a bad idea. You know, I'll double down on Jeff's practice and say, don't stress about practice being perfect, but stress about learning something at every practice you do. Right. Back to the sports analogies. Right. And I don't know about the food Steph Curry, but I can tell you from a golf perspective, like none of my practices are perfect.
He's a really good golfer too, by the way.
Is he really good
Just
golfer?
Annoyingly good.
Oh, is he? Oh, shoot. Okay. But I mean, like just practice something and get good at it. What I would also say is like, as much as I talk about like, passing information up the chain of command, I don't think you should ever feel shy about making your voice heard. I saw somebody in LinkedIn says, I've been told to stay in my lane when taking ownership. I think that's a good problem to have. I think if you're being told to stay in your lane,
Exactly.
that is
let them keep telling you that.
Let them keep telling you that. I think that is the best compliment that you can get in this business. Because to Jeff's point,
Totally agree.
yeah, to Jeff's point, like you may see something that they don't see, right? And to Beard's point about willful ignorance, if they are willfully ignorant to your continued advice, that's not your problem. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You did what you needed to do. So I think what you got told, if you've been told to stay in your lane when taking ownership, keep doing that. You're doing something right there.
Yep. I think assessing where you are on the continuum between right fighting 5,000 ants in an anthill versus being confident in your perspective. I think the more you're not in your lane, the more confidence you will have that your perspective is spot on.
Yeah.
Like honestly. So that stay in your lane thing kind of, gets under my skin a bit.
Does it annoy you, Jeff?
Well, it's antithetical to what I think people really should be doing, which is if I understand what your job is really, really well, I can make sure that my job helps you as opposed to hinders you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's just like having multiple people code software. Like if I can understand what you're trying to deliver and I can provide to you inputs that make your stuff better and more effective and more efficient, cool.
Yep.
Now we just have to communicate about it, right?
Yeah.
And so staying in your lane is understanding and then it's communicating. And I think that's crucial.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the last one
Push back on the lanes.
Push back on the lane for sure. I think the last one that I would give you, don't be cynical. Be skeptical.
That's ironic.
It is ironic. Right? I do know that's ironic. I'll get to that here in a minute. I've had a lot of conversations with folks recently about the cynical state of cybersecurity. When you're cynical, you stop caring. And when you stop caring, like, you really have to ask yourself if that means that you've lost your reason why. And I can tell you that when you talk to some really, really passionate cybersecurity folks, their reason why transcends making money. It transcends, living in a big house or owning a Lambo or stuff like that. The reason why, I think, is what makes a lot of people work harder than they really should. And I say that from people who have got burned out, from working harder than they should, sacrificing more than they need to make sure that their companies and their customers, like Jeff, are taken care of. And so try to stay on the positive side of that cynicism. As much as we give it some light here, we do that so that we can talk about it and we can see what the cynical side of cyber looks like.
Well said.
Speaking of cynicism, I won't tell everybody who said this because they've been on the show before and I don't want to rat them out. They're not ready to share this perspective with the world yet. But I was talking with somebody the other day, Jeff. You know him. Seems to have lost his luster for cybersecurity. Cites things like, you know, there's so much noise in the industry. There's so much noise in vendors. Marketing has, you know, ruined it for everybody. There's nothing new to be invented. There's nothing new to be figured out in cyber. Just another voice. Definitely showing those signs of losing like that why in cyber. Why do you think we've got so many leaders? That's not the only one. I should preface this by saying that's not the only leader I've talked to that has given that impression. Why do you think we have leaders who are getting to that point in our industry?
Well, I think you and I probably have a little bit different perspective on this, because I would say questioning that is not the problem. If you
Okay.
stay there, that's the problem, right? If you question it with a fatalistic approach of just saying, I don't know why we're here, but we're here. I guess this is our new home. That's cynicism, right?
Yeah.
If you approach it of, why am I here? Pull up Google Maps, okay, because I'm not staying here.
Like, this place sucks, man.
Right. I liked it back over there. So if that doesn't exist anymore, I'm still going to go search and find something new. Right. I think that's a totally different and much more acceptable and much more positive way of approaching things, as opposed to what you're calling cynicism. I do agree. I think there is a lot of cynicism, but I think it's, energy. You can't make progress unless you question. Like if all you're doing is just saying, well, we're just here, okay. Like, you're not going to make that next step in a positive forward way. To that end, though, in cyber, I think there's a lot of things that we've done. And I think you and I have talked about this forever. We have always way inappropriately put our faith in new things, new tools, new technologies, new approaches, artificial intelligence.
I have a question in the queue about artificial intelligence, by the way.
I have 14 opinions about it, and I know that yours is exponential from there. But I think we're at that cynical place, though, because that faith is unjustified in any of those things, and we're like, well, I guess nothing works now. I think people get to that point after more iterations than others. Like, I'm kind of an eternal optimist, so I still think there's a better way to do this. So I'm asking a lot of those questions, right? But I'm asking it because I really honestly believe that there's a better way to do stuff. Better collaboration, better workflows, better integrations, enabling people to be more efficient in the practices that they do on a daily basis. Like, if
how do
you mentioned this, people process tools, right?
Yeah.
And I think everyone is looking at companies like my company is saying, well, you're a tool maker. Yeah, I am. But if I don't understand the people and their perspective and what process they're trying to accomplish, I can't help design my tool in a way that helps them be more efficient and more effective. Or work with in an industry that we work collaboratively together in order to make the people's life better. Like, at the end of the day, that's what my hope is.
But do you think your optimism blinds you to
100%.
maybe 100%?
Always has, always will.
I was gonna say, like, I couldn't leave that one untouched. I don't know. I think we're at a weird spot, right? I think the
Are you cynical? Let me ask it this way: are you defeatist?
No, no, no. I'm not defeatist. I think the industry is lost.
Why?
We rode a wave too high, too fast, and we didn't accomplish what it is that we needed to accomplish. We set out to protect the world. We set out to make the world, make companies, stronger, better, faster. We set out to make companies embrace risk. And in the end, all we accomplished was creating an industry of scapegoats. That if you just buy this next cool tool, we promise the hackers won't hack you.
Yeah.
And so I think we've come to the end of the mystical era of cyber.
Can I take a stab at redefining that?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for
it. I would say we were approaching the end of people's blind faith that a series of tools can solve their problems. Honestly, I think it still comes down to security as a mindset that a lot of companies have not embraced, and until that changes, I don't think there's a tool in the world that could ever be designed to solve a problem that a company or the world in general doesn't care enough about to solve.
So it's hard to have this conversation without either A, beating up on vendors, or B, beating up on uninformed business executives. And I leave that very, very broadly as being the bucket of people
I'd expand it to the world and countries and politics. Like, if we don't care that Russia is hacking the crap out of Ukraine and making their lives miserable, and it's clearly gone to the next level of warfare. I was shocked that how long it's been going on. Someone said the anniversary. I'm like, really? I thought that was like a year ago. It's like, but you look at, cyber was just the appetizer to the entree of war. And we have to look at cyber differently as a world as opposed to what we've been doing. And I think that's part of the cynicism of, I think there's a lot of us who see the problem as bigger than people living in their Pollyanna world think it is.
So I'm gonna readjust the cynical hat, right? I'm gonna take this approach because I think this is where your optimism blinds you, right?
Sure.
I think we are egotistically uninformed if we think the world should care about cyber attacks that Russia is conducting against Ukraine.
Using that as an example.
Yeah, using that as an example.
I mean, I'm not saying that is like the be all.
Yeah. Using that as an example.
I am saying that if we don't prioritize cybersecurity, I think things are going to get way worse before they get any better.
How is that any different than the message that we had 10 years ago, 15 years ago?
It isn't a whole lot worse, and that's part of the problem. But we haven't made any progress to it.
That's the point that I'm trying to make is we haven't made any progress to that point, yet every year there is a new reason to do something different that is bound and determined to drastically, secure your company. Like we're that guy who's like, no, just one more thing. Let's just try this, just one more thing. No. I know that one didn't work. Let's try this. Just give me one more chance. Just give me one. Let me try this one.
But isn't that all chasing the easy button?
What?
Oh, we're going to try one more thing. Well, instead of doing the harder decisions of having a better patching process.
Sure, but
that
companies
everyone buys into.
But
Right,
Microsoft's not going to come to the CIO and be like, "Hey, we're going to stop selling you this useless tool that we just developed because you need to improve your patching process."
No, I understand, but I think so many companies have taken the easy button approach of we want to simplify this as opposed to making some of the harder decisions that have to get made. And I think some of the cynicism that you're sensing is that people are finally saying, oh, nothing is going to actually secure us simplistically.
Yes, that's
my point.
Yes, and maybe we've been wrong this entire time about what cybersecurity should look like in an organization.
Okay. What should cybersecurity look like in an organization?
If I had that, I'd be making a bajillion dollars. I have no idea. I think.
So you just know that what we've got built and everyone has replicated is wrong.
I think we have 15 plus years of proof that what we've been doing isn't working.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have
the problem is getting worse and worse.
Without a doubt. This is the problem isn't going to go away. Like I and again, cynical hat. I acknowledge cynical hat, but look at it this way: you now have ransomware gangs threatening to take companies to the SEC if they don't pay the ransom.
Yep.
How mind-boggling.
How have we not seen this coming?
Mind-boggling.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even hide anymore. They don't even mask their attacks. They're not trying to be sneaky. They operate in the open for everybody to see. Like the way in which they communicate is a joke. Right? They're like, snoop on our communications. We don't care. We're still gonna hack these companies. Right?
Yeah.
Like, when you see the attackers' willful disregard for everything that we've done for the last 10 to 15 years and literally laugh in our faces as they continue to make millions.
Mm-hmm.
And we got analysts protecting the front lines at $20 an hour. We have failed as an industry.
Yeah. No one has come up with a solution yet.
No.
So is you always talk about the architecture of security, people, process, tools. What of those things do you change? All of them?
I mean, they all work together. You have to. There's a reason that those things work in conjunction. It is the people, it is the process, and it is the technology. Like everything, like we have broken the entire system through our incompetence.
But isn't it all around the idea that I can have things better, faster, cheaper, easier? And it's that insatiable appetite for getting that is at the root of all of this. Because, like, why are new apps developed? Well, to make things better, faster, cheaper. But if we look at those, how many vulnerabilities is that exposing our organization to as a result? Well, we've got so many vulnerabilities in organizations. Like, how are you going to patch each hole in a strainer? Like, you've got a colander that's supposed to be your firewall and your security endpoint and network and all these things working together. which hole do you fill? These vulnerabilities are so vast. They're like a large company. An attacker could choose one of 15,000 vulnerabilities to go after.
So it's an extreme example, and you know me, I don't dread this example. So take it for what it's worth, right? And again, nobody overthink this, please. But it's an example that I think is apt, right? Right. So I have cancer, right? That was my first phone. That was the first attack I had. First attack I knew. How many vulnerabilities did I have leading up to that? Right? How many times did I say, "Oh, just go do this one thing, it'll be fine. This is the new greatest thing. Go have this drink. Let's go have some bourbon. Let's go have some wine. Let's go eat this processed food, right? Let's go do all these things because all this, it's all fine. It's all fine. This is the greatest stuff ever. This is processed food is the best thing in the whole world. This red wine is $200 a bottle. It'd be the greatest thing since sliced bread." How many times did I introduce vulnerabilities into the system because we don't ever discuss the root cause of the problems? And so now I've got cancer. Well, if somebody comes along and says, "Hey, Neil, we're going to give you this medicine, cost you $1.5 million a year for this medicine, and it's going to make your cancer better. But a year later or 2 years later, I still got cancer, and now my livers are failing." Whoa, okay, hold on. That one didn't work. Let's put you on this medicine. This medicine will stop your kidneys, but we don't know if it'll stop your cancer. So let's keep giving you this other medicine. 2 years later, now my kidneys are still failing. I still have cancer, and now I got a tumor in my brain. Wait, I can fix that. We can do surgery on the tumor in your brain, but you still got to be on the meds for your kidneys and for the tumor. That's what we're doing. We don't honestly, we have ruined the body of these companies because we've chased the pleasure of making money at the whims of the marketing companies and the VCs and the CEOs out there. And then when companies have had breaches, we've forgotten about all the things that introduced the vulnerabilities in the first place because now we're treating the symptoms that have caused the breach today.
Mm-hmm.
And we've never gone back because I can't undrink that wine. I can't uneat that processed meat. You can't uninstall that ERP system that introduced the vulnerabilities in the first place.
Right.
And so that's what I mean, that we have contaminated the bodies of our companies year over year. And there isn't anything in the forward that the only thing that we're doing by releasing a new tool, by creating new innovation, is we're fighting symptoms that have stemmed from the cancer that we got because we failed to do the basic things.
So eat more broccoli. For the body. What do you do with what do you do as a practitioner in cyber? Like for me it's easy. I hear your story, I say, okay, I got to eat more vegetables, right?
Yeah.
And drink
and
more
that's a
water
great that's a
wine.
great that's a great story for there's a company out there who sees MGM get hacked and goes, "I'm not going to be that company. We're going to fix it."
Yeah,
but
what
I think we have to see the world burn before we see companies rise from the ashes.
How badly?
Ooh. Worse than I want to imagine.
Starts hitting people in the 401k and like the banks get hacked and then we'll start to listen.
I mean, banks have been getting hacked for years. I can remember transitioning from the military out when I was at FIS, and I was on the front lines of getting hit with, Iranian attackers attacking, banking infrastructure in 2013, right? I think, banks have been getting hacked for years. until I maintain this. You've heard me say this a million and one times, so I know you'll remember this. But I think until the average citizen truly feels the pain of a failure of cybersecurity controls, we won't see anything get better.
So that right there is why you're sensing a lot of leaders are frustrated and are cynical.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And I don't listen. I want to make sure the chat is clear on this, right? Like we do a lot of hype in this stream. We do a lot of positivity. This isn't about trying to bring everybody down and trying to be negative Nancy. Like we also mentioned this at the beginning of the stream. Real conversations with real people, right? This is a similar conversation. I was in Florida, Jeff, for a wedding for one of our mods. And I love traveling because I get to meet with the community in real life when I go to places. That's for those who don't know, make sure you're following the socials because I almost always post where I'm traveling to, when I'm traveling to, and give people opportunities to meet and greet with me in real life. And I had one of our community members meet with me when I was in Florida a few weeks back. And they asked me a question similar. They were like, what? You're so happy and cheerful and you're always talking positivity on the stream. It's like, what are some of the things that you're not talking about? And I realized, Jeff, that you and I have failed the mission of having real conversations with real people because we talk too much about all the good things and the positivity things. And I think we've failed the community, Jeff, by somehow neglecting some of the scuff marks. And so I share this, because I want you guys to pull out a polish brush and start to see these scuff marks so you guys can adjust your thinking about how you, coming up in this industry, are going to change, real change for this industry.
It sounds like you're passing the buck.
Ooh, that stings. That stings. Am
I wrong?
I think passing the buck would mean that I'm taking my hands off the steering wheel. What I'm doing is I'm acknowledging that I can no longer hold the steering wheel on my own. And I need you guys to see how bad the road ahead is so you guys can hold on to this steering wheel with me and help me move us in a better direction. Don't call it passing the buck. Call it asking for help.
All right.
That's what I think. I need you guys to see some of these scuff marks so you guys can help us.
And I think part of the thing that we have to do a better job in as an industry is, what is our end goal? Because right now we don't have one.
No, we don't.
Like our end goal is Pollyanna and unrealistic of everyone is safe and cyber attackers are all caught and put in prison, right?
Yeah.
So that's nebulous. It's never going to happen. So what is a realistic target? Like, what should we be aiming for?
I think it goes back to this informed mentality that we kind of started the conversation with earlier tonight, right? I think we have too many uninformed people that we work around. We have too many people who think that like cyber is magic. PFM, right? PFM, pure effing magic. And I think there's a lot of egos in the industry that enjoy the allure of being a magician.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, we choose to keep our businesses, we choose to keep our constituents in the dark in hopes that we continue to look like magicians. I think
so. Is Is it a better question for as more and more CISOs are getting board seats because the SEC is kind of forcing a lot of this, right?
Just like you have 14 opinions on AI, I've got 14 opinions on this SEC board seat thing.
Yeah. Well, it's good and bad, right?
Yeah.
It's like we had to pull the Band-Aid off, but is it a good thing at least? I know you hate the idea of regulatory requirements and whatnot, and this is now creating a Pandora's box of a brand new attack mechanism of we just hacked you, but we're not going to do anything unless you pay us $10 million, and if you don't, then we will let the SEC know that you were just popped and you didn't notify anyone.
Yeah,
because you know about it, right? That's a brand new attack mechanism that we have already seen happen. But is it more?
I did not have that one on my bingo card, by the way. Did not see that one coming.
Well, there's a whole continuum of what's possible out there that I think we see visible light, and this is infrared here.
Yeah.
But the reality is, if we are in a board session, is it fair for them to say, what realistically is your goal for cybersecurity? Or is that like a stupid basic question of you're going to get fired if you ask that question? I think it's a fair question.
I don't think it's a fair question to ask. For the CISO to ask the board, I don't think that's a fair question. The board makes it very well known what their strategic objective is.
Yeah, perfection.
No. It's improve the value to shareholders every time. That is the only thing the board cares about, improve the value to shareholders.
Yeah. But when it comes to security, they're all looking at the Wall Street Journal articles talking about how other companies are getting popped and what the impact is from an SEC perspective. So, they are.
Well, so what I would say is we still have a track record where you and I talked about this literally like less than a month ago, I think it was when
it was about Vans.
It was about Vans. That's right. It was about Vans. We still got to check that in a quarter to test the hypothesis, but there is a long running trend where the market impact is not long term of a cyber impact of a material cyber incident, and therefore, if I'm a CISO talking to the board, put cynical Neil hat on, of a publicly traded company, I'm talking about how to hedge the risk of a multiple quarter downturn as a result of the cyber incident. I'm talking about how to hedge the losses for that quarter instead of saying that there's not going to be any cybersecurity events. But that doesn't move the needle for most CISOs, because oftentimes it requires you to not make big moves. It requires you to not move the needle. It requires you to do more risk aversion than it does actual innovation on a cybersecurity team, because you can't go to somebody and say, I need $5 million for a new SIM just so I can do risk aversion for a quarter.
Yeah.
Right? So I think CISOs have to find a better way than trying to complete these massive big projects that don't actually move the cybersecurity needle in an organization and congruently have no marginal benefit to the inevitable quarter downturn that comes from a material cyber incident. I think that's the language that's going to get you the most bang for your buck to the SEC. We are going to have a cybersecurity incident. It will happen. Board, I'm telling you right now, it's going to happen, and we will respond to the SEC as soon as it does. My goal is to make sure that impact lasts no longer than a quarter. Period. Dot.
Mm-hmm.
You know how you do that? You do that with response and remediation. You don't do it with detection. You don't do it with threat hunting. You don't do it with pen testing. You don't do it with vulnerability management. You do it with response and remediation resiliency.
And now every person on the stream that wants to get into pen
Yeah.
testing is like, what do I do with that?
What did Neil just say?
That sounded like that was going to be a fun thing to do for the rest of my career.
But it's true.
Yeah, and but I think there's a lot of these harder decisions that have got, like, you start to say, this isn't working. All right, what do we have to change? Well, let's start with everything, and then we'll determine what list is going to be shorter from that. But if you look at how much money companies are spending on pen testing and EDR functionality for early detection and threat hunting and getting ahead of it, you're saying flip the script and say it's all about reacting quickly.
Years ago, I think you remember this because I think you were with me when I made this proposition. I had made the statement. This was when PCI DSS said, "Thou shalt have AV." And I made a statement. I think I wrote about this even in a news article. And I said, no CISO is going to stand in front of a regulator or a CFO or a board member and say, we're not going to have antivirus because we have EDR, and EDR is far superior to antivirus. Because they're afraid to have that conversation for multiple reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Where we are now. Antivirus is practically dead. EDR is consumed up the NGAV realm. And yes, the PCI DSS has changed its language so that you can have some form of anti-malware technology on an endpoint. And that has happened.
Yeah, it's about time.
It's about time, right? I think that's what has to happen to the answer to the question that you just asked. I think we have to be prepared to stand up and say, no amount, and this is going to be hard for a lot of people to swallow, and I get it. Like this is going to sting a lot of people. No amount of 4 million SOC analysts sitting in a SOC, watching glass, responding to 400 alerts in a day is going to stop a cyber attack. We have to be prepared to recover from a cyber attack.
Yep. So what things do you do as a CISO to speed recovery?
Having it's funny how we always talk about like it's not a matter of if but when, but yet nobody actually plans for the when. How many times have you heard that from some freaking thought leader? It's not a matter of if you're going to get hacked, it's a matter of when. Okay, what have you done to prepare for the when?
Yeah.
Well, I got a DR plan. Cool. When was the last time you looked at it? When was the last time you practiced it? When was the last time did you actually validate it when you wrote it? Did you actually work with the business? Did you involve executive leadership? That's only a small case, but I think just like we have given lip service to tools, we've given lip service back to our people process technology conversation. We've given lip service to the people and the processes that we claim to put in place to allow for a speedy recovery.
So does that mean you're finally off my back for selling tools?
The fact that the fact that Broadcom divested you and you're getting back to your roots.
They haven't yet, but I keep telling people we're going to be like the best funded startup without debt.
You are going to be the best funded startup without debt. Are you still going to be publicly traded?
Who knows?
Who knows?
We have absolutely no idea what. I'm sure some people know exactly what's going on. I have no idea what is going on. So I mean, it ranges from private equity to another public offering
Hmm.
to a different company buying us, and would be augmenting a larger product.
Hmm.
I don't know.
I don't know. I am excited for you guys to get back to your roots.
Yes.
That's what I'm excited for.
I will say it's been a lot of fun over the last 6 months or so. I have seen in the field as a peon in the company. So people need to understand I have absolute zero inside information on all of this. So,
which for those who don't know, that's vastly different than when you were Carbon Black, because you were very, very much on the inside, and you had the know and stuff like that. So, it's
but
different.
I have seen a lot of excitement within the product teams and in your nemesis marketing teams. But the reality is everyone's kind of like, okay, let's roll up our sleeves. Let's get after this. What is our mission? What are we doing again? Right. And we kind of lost it for a while. And I'm super excited about the fact that we're kind of back in that mode.
Yeah.
And that's exciting for me.
So speaking of exciting, let us definitely end on some positive notes. Let's talk about 2024.
About time.
I know, right? God, why we got to be
you've been
all
Debbie Downer today? Sorry for all the Debbies listening here.
Why you got to be so anti-Debbie? Is that Debbie?
My sister's Debbie, and I love her. So
make sure you clip that.
She always had a problem with me saying that.
Maybe make sure you clip that so you can send it to her. What do you give me 3 personal goals for 2024, Jeff?
Ooh. Let's say learn how to snowboard switch.
Ooh.
I am left forward entirely, and I'm pretty decent at that at this point, but I want to learn to go right forward. It's I don't know if there are any snowboarders out there, and if there are people who know how to switch and like, oh yeah, you do this, and this, DM me please and tell me, because I'm kind of I'm looking forward to a sore tailbone and hurt shoulders again.
Coaching opportunity for anybody who's looking for a side hustle. Hit that exclamation point guest in chat. Get Jeff's LinkedIn and DM him with some coaching opportunities on snowboarding.
So I'm heading out to Breckenridge in February, so that I'll be able to test stuff out. So
nice. I love it.
Oh, awesome. Gotta love it, Smokey Bear. I wish I was out in Colorado right now, but.
No, the last time you were in Colorado, you broke your freaking shoulder, or your collarbone. Your collarbone.
I broke my collarbone. That was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, it seemed like it was last year.
4 years ago. So it was pre-COVID.
So okay,
whenever that was.
Okay.
But that wasn't my fault, Neil. No. So another goal. It's just more church related, finding some ways to serve in my church, and probably back with youth and mentoring high schoolers. I love it. It's a passion of mine. And if that's not where I'm to be, that I find something else to do, just something giving back. And then I think third one is get back up to running a 5K.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Nice. Where are you at? Are you actually working towards that one?
I am. Yeah. I could technically do it now, but I'd kind of like to, not suck at it. I'm about to die and throw up at the end, which is it's not a good look. The medical staff comes running thinking I'm having a heart attack. I'm at that age. You lean over and you're like, oh.
Quick, somebody get the defib. Well. Get the defib.
Yeah, exactly. Clear. It's never good.
It's never a good sign.
Yeah. How about you? Well, I know you said 2 wins.
Two wins and a. I
think you could do better than that. You already got one.
I don't want to overshoot. I want to set realistic goals, right? I think I can do more, and the season's just getting started in a couple weeks, and so I definitely think that there's an opportunity for more. But I think I'm going to set a realistic goal of 2. The state championship, there was a field of 60 last year, and I scored in 25th-ish or so when all the points settled. And so I think scoring top 10 is realistic too. So I think those are realistic, easy, realistic. I'll lump those all into one overall golf goal. For context's sake, I'm also like participating in my first amateur tournaments this year. So there's a mini tour called the Amateur Players Tour. It'll be my first cash payout tournaments. And so I'm going to at least participate in one of those as part of the overarching golf goal this year as well. I am going to say this, and again, like I think that this is a realistic, non-cynical, non-depressive goal, is to go another year fighting cancer. Right? We crushed last year, dude. Like, we crushed last year. It was awesome.
You are an inspiration for that, by the way.
I'm going to go another year. We're going to do it again. We're going to do it again this year, folks. Like, it's that easy. Like, we freaking crushed it last year. We're going to freaking crush it again this year.
Bring it on, right?
Bring it on, right? I'm ready. I am ready. I learned a ton about myself between cancer and golf last year, and I feel like I am appropriately armed for that battle, more so than I was last year.
Cool.
The last one, I always struggle with the personal goals because like I don't want to overshoot it. But I think that there's an opportunity for me to be slightly more authentic in my content. I don't want to divulge too much just yet, but I've realized that I've kind of deviated a bit. And I realized this, like, as I was doing some self-reflection this last year, I've deviated a little bit from what made me happy about content creation. And it's been really, really hard to stay motivated with everything going on now, cancer notwithstanding. I think you're going to see a more authentic Neil this year, especially when it comes to content. Hence the reason we did a no bullshit, taking the Band-Aid off type of stream tonight.
Well, I will support you throughout the entire process.
When are you going to support me by coming the freak down to North Carolina and playing some golf with me?
Let's plan on it this spring.
Done.
I'll fly down. And,
I can bring a friend to one of my golf tournaments if you want to be my +1 to a golf tournament.
Like to caddy or to play?
To play, but you could caddy for me if you want.
Do you want me to be your +1 to play? Wait, okay. Do I negatively impact you in any way because I am not that good?
So the YouTubes that I've watched of people who caddy, like the good caddies are the ones who can help get the golfers out of their head. Right? I was talking about B-Sec. B-Sec surprisingly is a golfer, and he said this best. He was like, I was talking with him about a tournament that I had done mid-year. I had been practicing it. The reason I used that example earlier, Jeff, about hitting the flub shot off the tee shots, because that happened to me earlier in the year. I went out to the first hole.
We all saw the tear in your eye as you were telling the story. We all knew it was true.
Dude, I had been practicing driver.
What the frick was that?
I had been practicing driver for literally 2 weeks prior to that, and I'd gotten dialed in on the simulator the shots I was going to make, and I get out to the first tee, and I literally topped the ball and put it into the brush right in front of the tee box for a freaking penalty. And what did I do? I put another ball on the tee and took stroke and distance and tried to hit it again with the driver. And B-Sec was like, did you not have a caddy with you to slap you upside the head and hand you your 4 hybrid, which is kind of like my go-to, that's my fairway finder, is my 4 hybrid, because I can usually do like 238-ish or so with my hybrid. And so
which
like
is just fine.
Which is just fine on literally 90% of the courses.
Which is why, by the way, I do not have a driver. Well, I have a driver. It just never, ever gets used.
Right. And so he was like, did you not have a caddy there to slap you upside the head and hand you the hybrid and tell you to go hit that off the tee instead of your driver? And I was like, no, I didn't. So honestly, if you came down, your distraction would be, get out of your freaking head.
Hello, Mr. Dumas.
Yeah.
All right. I will absolutely join you, as long as I'm not a distraction. Only if I'm a help.
You're not a distraction. Don't be an idiot. Speaking of goals,
yes.
Chat, listen up, and this, whether you're on LinkedIn or Twitter or YouTube or Twitch, head over to Discord. Inside of Discord, there is a goals channel. I highly, highly encourage everybody to go document their goals in the goals channel. Do this now. Do this right now. We're in the first week of January. Absolutely head over to Discord and document some goals for 2024. The reason for documenting your goals is because it helps you to visualize them. And if you can visualize them, you can make them a reality. I would also encourage you to follow the SMART format. Quick, Jeff, I'm going to put you on the spot and say, what does SMART stand for?
Oh, geez.
Specific,
details.
Specific, measurable, actionable, something.
Something. Time bound.
Time bound, that's
right.
R?
What is R?
What is R?
Come on, chat. Help us
Go
out here.
Chat, what is R? Realistic. There you go. Outcast got it. Realistic.
Thank you.
Yeah, realistic. But make sure, like, and Callie hit the nail on the head, right? Are you trying to have me be accountable for my goals? How dare you be a good influence? Yes. Yes. That is exactly what we want you to do. It is, you are the only one. You are the only one who can make your goals a reality. But it's sometimes hard for you to realize just how obtainable your goals are unless you go and document them. And so that's why we've created the goals channel. That's why the goals channel is there. People use that to document their goals so that they can have a reminder of their smart, realistic, and achievable goals. So I encourage you to do that.
Good. I thought you were talking about me for a minute. The goals channel.
Oh, the goals channel. Would you like a fan channel?
I do not.
Do we need to put a poll up? I'm going to put a poll up on Twitter after this. Yes, I am. I'm going to put a poll up on Twitter. I encourage everybody to go follow me on Twitter, !socials. There will be a poll about whether we should have a dedicated goals channel following Old Guy Wednesday.
That's the downside of trying to make a joke.
No, that sounded like you were asking for a fan channel.
No, it wasn't sounding like that at all.
Chat. Do you want to see a Jeff Goals fan channel? Speak now in chat. He can see the scrolling up on the screen. Let him know that you would love to see a Jeff Goals fan channel.
And for that reason, I'm out.
And for that reason, I'm out. Jeff, always a pleasure to have you back on Old Guy Wednesday. We do have a raid target. I would encourage anybody on Twitch not to go anywhere. We're going to go hang out with somebody on Twitch. But Jeff, you want to close this out for tonight? You got some words of wisdom for the Only Goals fan channel?
Only thing here is to practice. And it's the perfect time at the start of the year to set the goals for what that practice will look like. So there you go.
There you go. I love it. Sir, you have a fantastic day. I'm going to chat with my team here in a little bit, and I'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Man, I love that man. That man is so awesome. That man is so awesome. Best friend for a long time. Always good chatting with him. Glad he's around. Glad he's there to keep me safe. I appreciate you all for tuning in on a random Wednesday night. I know we didn't tell anybody about it. It was very random. We kind of spot drop this on everybody. So I'm always excited when people show up for the random streams. Got Friday this Friday. You know what that means? Might be a little tea. I don't think I have anything going on this Friday. No, my physical therapy is until the 19th. So physical therapy on the 19th, treatment next Friday. So we will be doing a nice little tea with a hacker this week. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Looks like we do have a raid target identified. With that being said, if you're on Twitch, please hang around. We're going to go raid somebody. If you're on LinkedIn and X and YouTube, unfortunately, we can't do that. We don't have a raid target for any of those channels. But with that being said, I appreciate all of you. Make sure you hit those exclamation point socials. Make sure you check out all the social media accounts. Make sure you do hop into Twitter, Discord. And what's going to happen is I'm going to put in the channel name for who we're going to raid. We've raided him before. He does good stuff. There we go. Got him. I ask y'all to be on your utmost behavior. Bring that same hype that comes from our community, that same positivity that comes from our community. Share that love with another streamer who's trying to make it in this industry. Represent us well. You're going to get a little screen that's going to pop up on your screen, ask you to participate in the raid. I encourage everybody and need everybody to please participate in the raid with us. Let's go show some massive hype for somebody else. And listen, whether you're on the red side, whether you're on the blue side, whether you're still deciding, stay awesome and keep learning. And we'll see you next time.